Hey, what's up guys? Xiaomi is back with another special mid-range phone, and I'm telling you, this one has got me just about as excited as I was for the Pocophone F1. I'm Will for GSM Arena, and this is our Xiaomi Redmi Note 7 review. The Redmi Note 7 looks quite similar to other mid-range phones we've seen recently, but its specs pretty much blow out any of the competition in its price range. There's Gorilla Glass 5 on the front and back, but this frame is made of plastic. Don't let that put you off though. It doesn't feel cheap, and since it's a bit glossy, it blends in quite well. Overall, it's comfortable in the hand, though since there is no curvature in the glass, the whole design feels a bit thick, and it definitely has some weight to it. We have the toned down black model here, but there are some snazzier color options available. Xiaomi has big claims for the durability of this phone, and they've posted videos of them using it to smash things like walnuts. Not sure how that translates to real life though. The screen of the Redmi Note 7 is a 6.3-inch IPS LCD with a 1080p resolution. It features fairly thin side bezels, but both the chin and the upper bezel are a bit on the thick side, as expected at this price point. The water drop notch cut out at the top is quite minimal, though I didn't see any options to mask it with a black bar. We did notice a bit of backlight bleed around the notch and upper bezel too, but it's only really visible if there's a white screen. When watching content, we were surprised by how good this display looks. At 409 ppi, content looks nice and sharp, and the blacks are quite decent. The color accuracy isn't the best, but it's okay. The panel is plenty bright, at 479 nits at the maximum. However, it's a bit reflective, and leaves more to be desired as far as sunlight legibility goes. As an LCD, there's no option for an always-on display, but there is a notification LED. It's actually located on the chin, a bit confusing at first, but you get used to it. For audio, the Redmi Note has a single bottom-firing loudspeaker next to the USB-C port. It's actually impressive, it's quite loud, and sounds clean at those high volumes as well. The 3.5mm jack is located at the top, and with headphones plugged in, the Note 7 has some of the loudest output in the market. There is some distortion, but all in all it's very good. And you get FM radio here as well. If you want, you can expand the storage beyond the standard 64 gigs via microSD, so you can keep more media on your phone. However, this will take up the second SIM slot. The rear-mounted fingerprint reader is lightning fast to recognize you and unlock the phone, as we've come to expect from Xiaomi. There's also a face unlock option. It's a bit less secure, though some people find it more convenient. The Redmi Note 7 runs Xiaomi's custom MIUI 10 interface over the latest Android 9 Pie. There's no app drawer in MIUI. All of the apps are on the home screen. The task switcher has been revamped, now showing all of your open apps in a vertical stack 4 at a time. Going left takes you to the app vault. That gives you quick access to commonly used apps, notes, and news. Since there's an IR blaster, you can control appliances through the Mi Remote app, if you want to. And of course, you can opt to use gesture navigation as well. The style is similar to the one made popular on Apple's iOS. Performance-wise, we weren't disappointed by the Redmi Note 7. It has a Snapdragon 660 chipset along with 4 gigs of RAM. We didn't notice any lag or hiccups, and there were no throttling issues when benchmarking or gaming. Overall, it has some of the best performance in the current mid-range category. The Redmi Note 7's battery is quite large at 4000 mAh, and we expected some pretty good battery life here. Again, we weren't disappointed. It scores an excellent endurance rating of 108 hours in our proprietary tests. As far as charging goes, the included 10-watt charger was able to charge from 0 to 30% in half an hour. Not too impressive. But there is a bright side. The phone supports Quick Charge 4, so if you can find one of those chargers, you'll be in good shape. The Note 7 has a pretty stacked spec sheet, and on top of the list is the camera at 48 megapixels and f1.8. It's paired with a 5 megapixel depth sensing camera for portrait mode. Although the sensor is 48 megapixels, because of its quad Bayer arrangement and pixel binning, the output of the camera is actually 12 megapixels, but you can opt for the full 48 in Pro mode. However, these end up noisier, so better stick to the default. In broad daylight, 12 megapixel photos are consistently quite good. There's plenty of detail, good contrast, and almost no noise. The colors might not be to everyone's taste though. They're quite punchy and not really true to life. We also do have some complaints about the exposure. The auto mode returns somewhat darker images than we would prefer. Luckily, the HDR does fix this. When turned on, images come out noticeably brighter, but may start to look washed out. In portrait mode, the results are surprisingly good. In fact, we've seen worse portraits on way more expensive phones. The detail is nice, while the edge detection is stellar. The defocusing effect isn't as strong as we've seen on other phones though. We were also quite impressed by the image quality during nighttime shooting. There's no prominent noise, details are good, and light sources appear to be rather well preserved. The pixel binning technology allows the Note 7 to snap brighter exposures, with higher ISO than previous Xiaomi phones, without increasing noise. There is a dedicated night mode too. It really makes a difference by restoring the highlights and bringing out the shadows. But you can get most of these benefits from just using HDR in normal mode, and that's more convenient too. The front-facing camera is 13 megapixels with fixed focus. If you hit the focus sweet spot of about an arm's length, selfies come out quite nice, with good detail. The Redmi Note 7's video options are quite limited, just 1080p at either 30 or 60 FPS. Dynamic range is a bit narrow, but contrast is nice. Videos do appear to be a bit noisy though, even when there's sufficient light. However, we were disappointed to see that there is no 4K option here, as the Snapdragon 660 is perfectly capable of handling it. We found that you can shoot with no problems if you download a third-party app like Open Camera. This means Xiaomi probably disabled 4K video on purpose. So the Note 7. With this guy, Xiaomi's new Redmi sub-brand is off to a nice start. It really checks all of the boxes. You got the great build, the performance, the camera, the battery life, and a low price. Basically all of the ingredients you need for a killer mid-range phone. Now as far as downsides go, there is no quick charger in the box. And there's no 4K video recording option, although the chipset does support it. And there's no NFC, in case you needed that for mobile payments. But regardless, we haven't been this excited about a mid-range phone in a while. For around 150 euros, you get a device that not only meets your expectations for a budget phone, but goes above and beyond, in some ways even approaching flagship level quality. If you're looking for a phone with a ton of bang for your buck, the Redmi Note 7 definitely deserves our recommendation. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in the full test findings of the Redmi Note 7 or just want to compare it to some other devices, you're welcome to stop by gsmarina.com. We'll leave a link in the description below. See ya!